All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for already tuning into the Astro News Network. Had a lot of people saying hello even before we started. I guess there was some big news on Babylon on Friday. I'm sure we're all excited about the 30s crash, and we'll get to it. Oh, and Black Widow, the microphone really isn't working. Like my main microphone, it's still being kind of weird and doing a weird feedbacky thing. But the other, like, auxiliary microphone makes the echo in this room super crazy. But I've kind of figured out that I'm just gonna, I cranked up the noise cancellation super high, and I'm just playing like slight, faint video ground music over it to hopefully make it not sound as bad. So really, I have not fixed the problem at all. I've just band-aided it. But we're here to talk about Babylon today. Big crash in the 30s, that's the big news. Also, there was another DPS blob, Stonk blob, in the 00s of Babylon that got killed. Stonk didn't see him coming again, but we'll get into more detail about how that actually happened. Because the AntiZerg alliance, it's all falling apart now. I mean, who could have predicted that the combustible elements of Stonk barely producing fleet and just the general unstable nature of Ku would combine into an incredibly explosive nature? And we're going to talk about that in a lot of detail. There's a lot to talk about. God, there's just so much to talk about. I don't think this is going to be the end for Babylon. I know it's been 2 months, and this was a big deal that clearly puts the Clarky side in a large advantage. But I don't think it's over yet. I got the GM in Ku because Compulse was going full meme. He said, come over so you can look at some battle reports, blah, blah, blah. And I said, if you hand me the GM of the guild, I'm just going to delete it after you suicide everyone into Stonk. And everyone that was in the voice chat said, oh my god, yes, do it. Or no, give it to Frosty so Frosty can delete the guild. He's been talking about it all server. So they went almost all the way, but I gave them that final Ku push over the edge. They're gone, deleted from our memory. But I think just being the one to delete the guild, there's no greater scumbag to do it than myself. I didn't want to take that glory away from them. But I guess before we get into Babylon, we're going to talk about other servers for about 10 whole seconds, which was on Antares. Total from the teens launched at the BNB blob in the 30s, but they got away. And everyone else in the 30s launched up to the 50s, and that was it. That was it. They didn't really get much fleet, but they're up there now. On Utopia, big news is that I'm still the GM of ELO. That's it. That's the only news. The guild is still alive. We're not dead yet. That's it. And we're always going to refresh on Utopia since I took Baylor's guild. But I don't think I'm aware of anything else happening on any other server at all. So we're just going to move ahead to talk about Babylon, which obviously there was a ton of news on Friday. And we're going to start by talking about the big ticket item, the crash in the 30s, which I bet there's a lot of people that are just flat out hearing about this for the first time right now, because both guilds in the 30s, TLDR and VSI being formerly SMFI, a lot of people are probably hearing about it now because both guilds in the 30s really not community chatty folks. Like someone just popped in on Friday night and like, oh, there was a crash in the 30s. Like, oh, no one even knew because no one in TLDR actively posted in the Discord, and I don't even recognize anyone that is in the SMI guild or VSI guild. They changed their name to whatever it is. Yeah, there's 2 guilds in the 30s, and they fought each other, and they each lost roughly 10 million. The real specs of that was Saturday morning, whatever. TLDR was launching from 37 down to 36, and VSI decided to move over and try to contest their landing, but they didn't contest with enough fleet, so TLDR smashed them. I wasn't able to get like specific numbers before the crash. No one, I guess, on either side was paying attention at all. But looking in Rocky Moon, I saw that 10 million was lost on VSI's side, and TLDR lost about 9 million fleet. I heard that it was still a pretty easy go for TLDR because I guess VSI got a healthy amount of fleet Dreadnought smashed. But yeah, I guess both those guilds in the 30s, they still have, I forget what the number was, like 16 million fleet, 17 million fleet. They're both still very, very close in their total fleet numbers. So I think they're going to keep just fighting amongst each other for a while. I'm not aware of any like temporary pact that they signed. So they'll probably just keep fighting each other and staying out of all the politics that's happening across the rest of the server. Just keep doing their own thing. If I had to guess, that's what they're going to keep doing. And Big Lebowski sent me just a ton of battle reports, so I'm going to keep them up for just another minute while I move on to the 0-0's blob stare down that happened. Now, brought to you by the makers of Do Not Harm Pacts, Spider Holes, and Bombers, the Astro News Network will present the official story of the crumbling of the AntiZerg Alliance. So, the AntiZerg Alliance of Audi, Honda, Stonk, Ku, and Pokemon being the major players from the 0s and 10s They were a ragtag group of unstable memers. They kind of had trouble right from the start. And well, I guess after the first day is when I would say the trouble started. Because the teens came down to support stock Audi and Honda in the zeros, and they quickly got their blob down to 05, but just as quickly as they got the general blob down to 05, it stalled out immediately. A constant reoccurring issue between the guilds were accusations that were based on reality, that Stonk wasn't producing as much fleet as all of the other guilds, and was instead, they were accused of simming new bases and doing a lot of research and technology going towards P-rings. Like, for instance, while Audi and Honda relocated across their cluster, there was even, I think there was a week where they still outproduced Stonk, who didn't relocate, for any amount of time, which is absurd. Just absurd. About a little over a week ago, when the Stonk 07 mini blob was derbed, the AntiZerg Alliance had really took a look at themselves, and they noticed that they'd already mentally stalled out. They really just they didn't have the mental fortitude to get stuck in that multi-cluster blob stare. And looking through their leadership chat, it's like I had seen that they looked into moves that they could have, or like after the 07 blob, they were looking to see what they could do after the smash, and they realized they didn't have any kind of fleet advantage at all. So they didn't really have a position to where they could be making any creative moves. And the only way for the AntiZerg to get back into a position to do anything good was for the entire alliance to really make one last big push on mobilizing and producing fleet. They looked at their numbers and they dropped way below their mobilization percentages that they were before. And they just said, we need to make one real push to get our fleet advantage back so we can do what we came down here to do. What were stocks sitting in 07 for in the first place? That's a good question that doesn't have an answer, Black Widow. There is no answer. So while the morale was down in the AntiZerg Alliance, and everyone that was non-Stonk being annoyed with Stonk, it was only going to take one more real spark to set Ku, the most tilted guild, Ku, over the edge. And that specific spark was Stonk player Jeffy the Wise declaring that he built base 13, which, by the way, costs 500,000 credits. Now, based off of his account growth and tech and research and experience, it does look like he was producing fleet, but he was just immediately burning that fleet at even ratios, because after he built that fleet, he only had 600,000 fleet, almost 600k in research, and at that point in the war, 600k fleet is way under the amounts needed for what they were looking for and the big standoff they had going down there. Burning fleet on bases like that just to build another base, not ideal in a war. And DPS had strongly defended this player Jeffy the Wise, that he was making base hits. It was still good. He was hitting enemy bases for no profit. It was good, or minimal profit. And that was enough for coup leaders Skinny and Calm Pulse to decide they were at the end of the rope. They were done. They just couldn't do it anymore. And this was at roughly 2 p.m. on Friday. About 2 hours later, at 3:45ish on Friday, Skinny and Calm Pulse, they both messaged me saying, "Hey, join my Discord and get in voice chat." And I try to I'm still working, and I try to wrap up my work for the day. And I'm in there 15 minutes later, and there's tons of people in voice chat, and I see a text channel named Die DPS Die. And I get into voice chat, and they immediately are telling me about how they just can't deal with Stonk and DPS anymore, and they're just going to derb them and get the hell out of there. Oh yeah, so yeah, Compulse said to get in the Discord. I shouldn't forget to discuss how this is Jeffy's first server. Yeah, maybe it was good of him to burn all his fleet on bases and go for account growth and ignore the rest of his war. But I get into their Discord, and they're all talking about how they're going to get ready to just start blowing up. They're going to start blowing up stock. And, okay, Anonymous and Pulsar, I got to keep getting through. You got to let me get through. Can't say dude, just listen. I got to get through the story, my dudes. Anyway, so Compulse says he says get over and into the guild. I'm going to give you GM after we start shooting. We're going to give you GM. And so I say, if you're going to give me GM, I'm going to delete your guild after this, because I know the players that are in Coup, you're all just going to rage quit and blow them up and quit. So I'm going to get GM shit for the memes, and I'm going to delete their guild. And I asked them, I was like, is this what you're fine with? And everyone said, yes, daddy, yes. And so that's how the guild got deleted. That's how I got in a position to do it. But I'm in that voice chat like 15 minutes later, at just about 4:20, blaze it. Coup goes ham on Stonk. They are just suiciding into Stonk. They blew up everything in 05, and they're just shooting them. And just the immediate fallout for the rest of the people who didn't suicide, they just said, we're getting the hell out of the teens. That's that. What's your fake news, Pulsar? What's the fake news? Go ahead. Tell everyone what the fake news is about Jeffy having 600k fleet, which is what I said. I said he had 600k fleet. But that's what you said was the fake news. You're saying the fake news is that he blew up his fleet? I mean, then how else did he get base 13? His XP was going up. 600k fleet is not enough fleet. 600k fleet is not enough fleet. Okay, Pulsar DPS apologist in here. But we're going to move ahead. We're gonna move on from Pulsar DPS apologist. But after everything went down a little bit later in the day, Compulse put me into the AntiZerg leadership chat to get a glimpse of how Stonk had been dealt with their allies. Like, I wanted to see if DPS had been reasonable in there, or if they were just what was happening behind the scenes, to see if maybe Stonk didn't know they weren't producing fleet and no one had told them that. Or something like that. But in lieu of that whole leadership chat, I'm not going to go through and read the whole thing on stream or anything like that. I think at this point to just go through a bunch of screenshots like that, that's a little much. Posting everyone's screenshots, I don't like that very much. But hold on, I'm trying to open the other battle reports. Coup, there it is. A few more battle reports of Compulse dread raping people. Anyway, going through that leadership chat, there was a common theme, a very common theme, and the main theme was that everyone that wasn't in Stonk was frequently telling Stonk that they needed to actually get their players together and produce more fleet because they were behind everyone else. It was brought up a bunch of times, and I really didn't want to just have this looking at the leadership chat thing just be bashing DPS, but going through the chat, he just looks really bad throughout the whole thing. There was a lot of times where people would just be kind of reasonably saying things, and DPS would just deny and make excuses. It just looked bad a lot. But I am going to try to, without screenshots, I am going to try to paint a few word pictures about some of the highlights, because there's a few highlights in there. I lost count of how many times people who were tracking fleet growth said you need to make Stonk build fleet. I lost count. I went through about 2.5 weeks of it, and then I just couldn't do anymore. There was a lot of times where Stonk was saying produce fleet, and DPS would say that he didn't have a spreadsheet guy. And so Skinny started making the fleet tracking spreadsheets for him, but no change happened after that. Stonk has 2 players going for levies. DPS was only going Titans, but he didn't have Dreadnought structures even built yet, which was a weird thing. There's a good bit about how DPS thinks all the other guilds on the the 30s guilds are also pacted. We're pre-server pacted to Clarky, which everyone kept telling him that wasn't the case. Calling hidden jump gates spider holes. DPS wanting to pull back all the fleet to 09 for some reason, just surrendering all the other galaxies. I saw that somewhere. Stonk wanting to focus on killing inactives and burning fleet there when they needed fleet up in 05 to fight in the war. Compulse was talking about the accounts with... this is just my favorite silly thing. Compulse was talking about the account with the highest prod he knew of on the server that wasn't asteroids or moons doing rings at all. It was all rocky planets, which he abbreviated as RP. And DPS didn't know what the RP was, even in context, and I thought that was funny. The prime instance of DPS being a dick in the chat was after the Stonk and Void Blob got ganked in 07 a little over a week ago. The other leaders were not just piling on DPS. They were surprisingly positive about it. They said, "Hey, it's a fuck up. It happened. Let's just try. Here's some things we can do to try to prevent this in the future. We know we gotten lazy, but we need to get it together. That's how we let this happen." And DPS chimes in with, "Are you guys still talking? Let me know when you want to talk about moving forward instead of bitch." Like, after everyone was already over it and being positive, I'm like, that was the worst thing that I read in there. When everyone was like not throwing him under the bus, and then he just dick to everyone. And then that was the worst thing that I did have to read exact quote, because that was just the worst thing. And after the coup on Friday afternoon, obviously DPS was not thrilled about this, Stonk's GM. And I don't think any non-Stonk GM even was upset at coup in there. And all the other non-Stonk GMs they all just said, we understand why coup got so upset, because Stonk was kind of floundering, sort of not really pulling their weight in the entire war. Like, not being in 05 blobbed with everyone else, wanting to go back to 07, taking care of kick derbs. And every leader, in very polite terms, kind of in surprisingly polite terms in that chat, said that they felt the same way. And no non-Stonk leadership said a bad word about the coup suicide. Not Alcus, not Wodan, not Aurelius, not Mr. Black. Not a word. And DPS's response was saying he'd love to work with Audi and Honda again. And if they were pre-server pacted instead of pacted after the start, things would have been totally different. And he yelled at Aurelius for saying it's probably time to quit, which Aurelius was super civil. I thought that yelling at Aurelius was also weird. But it was that whole chat. I looked through 2.5 weeks, and I couldn't find anything redemptive for DPS in there. I wanted to, so it wouldn't just be whatever, this 10 minutes of bashing the chat, but it just all looked bad for Stonk. I mean, because he'd asked for fleet tracking help, and then he got it, but then nothing improved. And it was just the same issue that I read for the 2.5 weeks of chat that I read. Like, I mean, is this all to blame because he lost his spreadsheet guy? It's hard to say. Does this mean that the server has been completely handed over to the giant Clarky King? Also hard to say. It already wasn't looking great for the situation in the AntiZerg group because that blob stare fatigue had already set in. It had already set in. That's how the mini blob 7 got picked off, because they ran out of stuff to do, so people aren't watching scanners. I mean, both the anti-Clarky groups that are in the 0s and 10, they're obviously weaker now. The 20s, which were just now joining the anti-Clarky group, they're just a fledgling training guild, so they're not going to be that effective. They'll try to do something, but they're not going to sync super great. They're really a bunch of just the new dudes. In the 30s, they did a crash, but they still seem to be at each other's throats. They still have very equal fleet counts. Obviously, TLDR is going to get the advantage now with a bunch of money that they picked up. And maybe they signed a DNH or something to unite their cluster, but the 30s so far, both guilds have been very isolationist, and it's hard to get any speculative info out of them. I mean, will all the non-Clarky guilds across the server band together to stand up against the big Clarky advantage that exists now? I mean, we'll probably find out soon. We're doing a bit of a reset with the Clarky gang and the Zeros having a real big advantage. That's it. Yeah, so Ku stabbed their ally because they just got Ku stabbed their ally Stonk because they just got that tilted. And a lot of players quit in the teens because they were just saying enough is enough, this is dumb. A lot of players in Stonk had already quit after the 07 smash as well, losing 2 crashes in the start of the server 2 months. It's hard. Yeah, working with Deity, Mr. Black, working with DPS on Nexus, it was less insane, but on Babylon, it was just crazy. It was just a mess. Reading through that, it was too much. I can see how the other guilds got upset with him, and then even after just suiciding and flat out losing, throwing the war completely, everyone else in that leadership chat just like wasn't upset at Ku about it, which was surprising to me. It was just, yeah. You guys are ready to throw in the towel? It's a bit of a reset. Who knows? I mean, maybe Clarky will give the 0-0 players a bit of a break. Who knows? He seems to not. He says he doesn't want to smash out the server immediately, so maybe he'll give you guys a little bit of breathing room for a bit. But who knows what'll happen? And so we have talked about the Babylon madness, and it's time for everyone's favorite segment, where I take that quick moment to promote myself and thank everyone that watches and has followed and subscribed. And here's that friendly reminder that if you do have Amazon Twitch, you get a free monthly subscription to use on your favorite streamer on Twitch. You can use this free subscription every single month. It's on the page somewhere. I think it's a purple button. There's also a donate button on there somewhere too, if you're into that sort of thing. One person used it once. And if you're not watching live, I do upload these videos to YouTube the next day for old people that can't figure out Twitch. And if you do any whatever, like and subscribe there, that's all appreciated too. But that is enough of that. We are going to get to our first interview. We got a big poll today. We got Hobbs, the only new Astro Empires player in 2020. So I think we should all be excited about that. And Wheels is going to be up right after that. So stick around. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with ya boy Hobbs. All right, guys, we're back here with Mr. Hobbs, only new Astro player in 2020. Why don't you say hello to everyone, Hobbs?
Hi, everybody.
As you can tell, Hobbs is just so excited to be here. Now, yeah, first question for everyone. Mr. Hobbs, please tell us about your deep, rich Astro Empires history as a new
Right.
Astro Empires player.
Well, I'm definitely not the only new player of 2020, as everybody has seen in the chat, and the the infamous Jeffy the Wise, who's been a really cool guy to get to know in Stomp. But yeah, I mean, with this whole pandemic and everything, I've just had so much time at home, and I'm like a student, and all of my work is on the computer anyway, and I've been working remotely. So I got sucked into this game, and it is clearly a bottomless pit. Um,
Yes.
but I'm really addicted to it.
Now you
I
said you're at school. Do you are you like on campus at school?
No, no, no. I
No.
live like 45 minutes away from where I go to school.
I was going to ask if it made you popular on campus, but just for the
Oh
record.
yeah, I know. It would have if we were on campus.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, would have
So how did you end up
would have been
finding
a
out?
really big
How did you
deal.
end up finding the game? Like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
yeah.
So I study astrophysics, and one of my coworkers was, we were working on this project together that was just like the two of us in this little dinky office for a while, and he told me about this game that he would play, and he never actually got into it, and I didn't actually play it at the time. But when this chat is really funny. When the pandemic happened and I was just at home a bunch, I just thought I would try it out, and I just went down the rabbit hole of like all of these guides and learning all I could about this game. It's so addicting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Um,
surprising that someone in 2020 would find
I
a
know, right?
text-based browser game would be into
I
it.
mean, I
But
actually do like this. I do
mhm,
like this kind of stuff, to be
yeah,
honest, just like background games. Like I'm like usually playing something else and just like tabbing over to AE like throughout the day. But yeah, I random started in '08, or what's it called? Streamline started in
hmm
'08 on Antares, and was surrounded by, I think when I started, their guild was it uh BV, or
BV and the
I can't
boys.
remember. Yeah, something like that. I can't actually remember, but I didn't know who anybody was. But there were those guys, and then Thog, and this guy Nazgul was like blowing up my inbox in game, and I didn't know anything about this game community, and he was like join or die, doing this whole big dramatic thing,
That's real
and
friendly.
yeah, it was just kind of weird. And I joined for a little bit, and it was just like a weird vibe, and I wasn't into it. So I left and I joined some like uh some random guild, and eventually pushed my way into SFA because they seemed like a fun bunch, and SFA was the best decision I ever made because they were pacted to all of the people, and I think it was still BV at the time, but
hmm
I don't know. So yeah, they were a fun bunch. I actually wasn't there at the same time as Black Widow. We didn't overlap, but yeah, I don't know. I made a bunch of friends there, and with some of the Go players who were in '08, it was, I still don't know how to say the name, Soulji. I
Sewi
don't know.
Juga.
I don't know, and
What a
Revive,
noob.
and eventually Southie, even though he wasn't in '08, but everybody who knows Southie knows he's just he's a likable fella. So um, but yeah, eventually I just asked if I could move into SF, and look at this chat. Oh,
Yeah.
get over it, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
Baylor
not
gave me a
supposed to.
chance
You're
and let
not
me
supposed
into
to like
SF.
people here. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. I think everybody's pretty likable one on one. It's just in this Discord that everybody gets really toxic.
Like, because we've all
But
known each other for
it's
over a
kind of
decade, and
funny.
there's just so much bad blood, and
I'm
no one lets
basically like
outweigh
eating
any of it.
popcorn,
Yeah, oh, yeah, I
watching, and
bet.
just like throwing a little bad reaction gif in here and there.
Yeah.
Wholesome memes.
hmm
That's my brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baylor gave me a chance and brought me into SF. Southie is nice until you drop a day one trade on him. Oof.
Well, who
That's
wouldn't be?
basically the background though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, the big thing, as we can see on the page here, you've worked your way up to the GM, the Guild Master of Space Force on Antares.
Yeah, I got thrown the hot potato.
Yeah, I mean,
I
Baylor gave me his guild on Utopia too, so we're like brothers now. So
honestly, like I had been like really autopiloting on Antares for a while.
most people have, unless
And
you're in OPA.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like real life was getting kind of busy, and like I guess I was doing the Babylon stuff, but yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to Antares, and then I got this Discord message from Baylor out of the blue, just like, all right, I'm gonna try something. Like, hopefully, it's not the kiss of death, I think he said, but have at it. Like, I'm too busy with other things to do this, so good luck. Um,
So he just gave it
and
to you
yeah,
without
he
even
just
asking.
gave me GM. Yeah. And so I started like talking to some of the other people on the server just to like understand I don't know all these big dramatic histories between people and all the beefs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um
there's a lot of beef.
so yeah, I don't know. I wasn't in it for the fame, but there were just a lot of really nice folks in SF who I didn't want to just like say, well, that's it, guys. See ya. So I don't know. We worked something out with some of the Zergers who I guess had a personal vendetta, and I get that, and I just felt like a kind of mediator, and was just like bringing offers back and forth, and got Baylor to like agree to just quit Antares. I don't actually know what the real beef is between everybody, but I just wanted to figure something out so that the server wasn't like instantly dead for everybody in the zeros. And yeah, they said if he quit, they would back off. So I think that's what we're doing now. But everybody's still kind of on autopilot. Like, I don't know, there's so much happening in the world. And then clearly on Babylon, like, I was not really able to
Yeah.
get very hands on with, like, I don't know anything about GMing. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
You'll get there. You'll get there. I think you have a lot of fans, so you'll be okay. And
Everybody's
a lot
very
of guilds are
nice.
gonna take it a bit easier on SF now. I think.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, not me on Antares. I have no pull in Antares. I joined the USSR and I'm hated there, so I have
You
no
built
pull in
that rank
there.
one account all by yourself.
I
You really
mean,
did.
you can't lie to profile. Like, why would it say otherwise? So let's talk about that's your Antares journey. Can we talk about your Babylon journey?
Yeah.
You're now in FFS. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
let's
can
yeah.
get there. But yeah, basically I made friends with Southie on Antares and was like, yeah, let's I want to join a guild with you on B3. And he pulled me into this communist meme guild, and he ended up just like bailing, but like there were some other fun people in that chat, so I just went along with it, and it
Yeah.
ended up being this stonk guild. But I didn't really, I didn't know everybody. I knew like a couple people in there, but I went along with it. And being like a still relatively new, I mean, this was my first like server start, even though I was just kind of fucking around on Babylon, or on Antares. And what's this oof? What's all the oh no's for? Not stonk. Yeah. Um, here's the great tragedy. The bomber memes. I was assigned the bomber memes. Um,
How'd that
but
work out for you?
I wanted to be a good soldier, so I did it. I committed. I did the bomber memes, and yeah, I don't know. I was pretty consistent, and I feel that I was on top of my prodding and all of that. Yeah, Hobbs is Omega bad now.
So you were at least one of the players that was producing fleet.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I hit a million right before the 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 great stabbing. Um, but yeah, it happened while I was working. So no, everybody in the chat. I'm not here to trash talk anybody. Like I made a lot of good friends in Stonk, and yeah, I mean, so this stab happened while I was at work, and I just like alt tabbed and saw all these messages and like a frickin' just flaming pile of trash going on the server. Bye, Teddy. Um, and I just clicked on my fleet, moved everything except for my bombers off because I wanted to be free of the meme. And my fleet was named Sad Bomber Memes, and I just hit the first thing I could, and I guess it was Leet, but I guess he was banned, which I didn't even know. But
Apparently, he
I don't
got
know.
banned
I
a few
hit him,
days ago, I guess. So
got rid of all the bombers, no more bombers. And then just like I mean, I was like in coup for the gate because Aurelius was in coup, and he was the one who owned that gate, and I just felt like they haven't noticed that I'm just still sitting on here. I was just eating up some derbs, and then when the guild disbanded, I just like tabbed on to Pokey for a while, and just I mean I didn't make back like I think I burned like 350k bombers or something, and
ugh.
killed like 600k in cruisers. I don't know. It was ridiculous. Yeah, I was the imposter. And I didn't make back nearly the 400k derbs or whatever I created. But I sat on there for a while and then just like bailed out. But yeah, everything was like just kind of falling apart in Stonk, and there was like a group chat with some of the people in Stonk who I had made. I mean, I think I was becoming friendly with everybody, but there were like a few people that I think I was like particularly vibing with, and they were talking about maybe leaving, and I thought, yeah, let's go along with it. I'll stick with my friends. Yeah, I'm actually not too happy with this battle report because I just like alt tabbed and just hit the first thing I could because I was like in the middle of a Zoom call. But I could have saved, I think, like 500 or 50k fleet if I bomber dropped instead of swarmed. I think 32k bombers was the sweet spot, and it would have done the same job.
Look at you
Doesn't
showing
matter.
off that you know how to calculate and eyeball
Yeah,
calculate.
it's
Look
really
at
hard to type
you.
numbers in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we got approached by that group chat I was talking about. We got approached by like Clarky and Wheels, and I actually had a short history with Clarky on Antares where he was. I mean, everybody knows this now. He was drizzed in '08, the famous gate for all of the non-zeros guilds to come in on. And while I was a new player and everything, I didn't know who was what, and he even like trolled me super hard, like that, oh, I just want to join SFA, can you like talk to the leadership and try to get me in? And I was just like wholesome innocent Hobbs, just like, yeah, of course, man, like, I'll see if anybody wants to let you in. But we ended up having like a bunch of like back and forth, disturbing each other's fleets, hitting some bases here and there. So it was like a honorable opponent sort of thing. No, it was fun. It was fun. We had a good time. Um, and yeah, he hit me up just asking if I wanted to tag over and say hi to some friends and hang out. I mean, Clarky's in there, and then a bunch of people from SF and other friends I had made on Antares. So I don't know. I tagged over. That's why I'm in FFS right now.
Yeah, because I know,
Also, that
because
way I don't have to VM. I can just keep
yeah,
building my account, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because I know
And
you
they're a
had a
fun
good account and
bunch.
you still had your fleet. Because I know the
I
teams
think
had
I got to
offered
like
you an
rank
account.
12.
Yeah, the tens had offered you
Yeah,
an account, but you had a good account already. So like, why would you
I
take it and
so
stuff?
I'm sentimental. This is my problem. I'm very sentimental, and I don't want to delete my account. I like a lot of the people in Coup, and I was very honored that they offered me an account, but I just wanted to see what I could do with this one.
Yeah,
And
nothing
I
wrong
don't
with
know.
that.
I don't know. Yeah, I think before the sad bomber memes officially blew up here, I think I got to like rank, I don't know. I don't think I was top 10, but I was definitely top 20. But yeah, we rescind our offer just in case more bombers. Honestly, that's fair. That's fair. You
Hmm.
shouldn't take a risk on, yeah. Honestly, I just miss my heavy cruisers from Antares. I got to do so much farming. I got to farm all of Thog after Naz was trying to bully little innocent Hobbs. He turned around and started farming them. except Angry Fish, who turned out to be the Go spy in Thog, who was absolutely destroying me. Figured out my sleep schedule. This is like how I learned about like the intensity that people play AE with. That this guy like figured out my sleep schedule and was like trade scraping all my bases perfectly, and that was a lesson in the deep end.
Yeah, if you want to try hard, you can just like be a god, and like you'll be waking up. You'll wake up at 1 in the morning to launch your fleet, and you'll land at 3 in the morning, and then you'll make your
Yeah,
executive.
exactly. But yeah, it actually made a lot of sense that Angry Fish was the Go spy because he was clearly much better than everybody else in Thog.
Yeah.
And he ended up being like a really pop scary, not gonna lie. Thanks. But yeah, that was fun. It ended up being like a nice person. Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks, Abe. Well, she was destroying me left and right.
Yeah,
It was fun.
so yeah, I think we got to talk about both Antares and Babylon. Has anyone talked to you into taking you an account on any older server? Like
Oh
just by
yeah,
chance?
actually, I know we're past 1240, but
No,
yeah,
it,
Baylor gave me a Kepler account. I think we're in the same guild.
we are, yes.
But yeah, there was like this whole big, what's the guild called? Spork. They did that prod
The
bomb
sync
thing,
prod,
and
yeah.
yeah, and so he needed a bunch of people to take over accounts, and I took over some account, and it's like Friggs and Ion Friggs, and yeah, I'm just going along with it.
I
It's fun
haven't.
to
I
play on an old
have.
server and like see
Yeah,
what late game looks like.
yeah. I have an on one of Baylor's other guilds. I'm sure I have an open account there. I can give you two that I think he might still be
I
holding
don't
on
know if
to.
I can handle more accounts. Like, I
Don't
don't know. I
worry,
feel
no
like
one's
I'm getting
doing
busy
anything.
again.
No one's
Yeah.
doing anything on
Well,
Utopia. It's
just
like
like things are
Kepler.
starting to open up again, and like school is not like
Yeah,
as chill anymore. It's getting a little more intense, and yeah, I'm playing because it's fun. But yeah, honestly, Anonymous, I want to know who Ahoy is too. I want
yeah,
to know who Horatio Nelson is, the king of the XP.
yep.
Is still up there?
Clarky says we're going to be so surprised when we find out, but we'll see. We'll see
I
what
have
happens.
suspicions, but we'll have to see. Yeah, 217k XP. That's wild.
Yeah, that's a little bit more than I have.
Just a little bit more.
That's right. I brought Hobbs on just to recruit. I had to butter him up first.
Well, I am free agent for C3, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Is there any other big, brave declarations you want to make for Esther Empires before we let you go this afternoon?
I appreciate you having me on. I think I would just say, everybody be a little nicer to each other. Gosh.
All right, goodbye, Hobbs. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's what I
No,
thought.
yeah,
That's what I
that's
thought.
yeah. So, all right, everyone, that was Hobbs, and we gotta cut the mic on him, and so, um, all right, I gotta laugh at that for a second. All right, we're going to be back with. I'm telling Hobbs, thank you in chat. I'm going to be right back with Wheels on. I'm sure he's lingering around. And so we're going to take another quick break. And we'll be right back, boys. All right, my dudes, we are back with Wheels, ya boy Wheels. Why don't you say hello to everyone, Wheels?
Hey Jordy, hey guys, how's it going?
And Wheels, as you might be able to guess, is a Canadian. I could hear it clear as day. But we're going to ask brave Canadian Wheels to come on and let's hear about your Astro history. I think you have a little bit more than Hobbs did. But let us have it anyway.
Yeah, I started back in Nova, just random start. Just found the game through a buddy. He was in 50s, I started in 30s, thinking I could farm him from there, not knowing anything about the game. Ended up in uh, BBW, I think, Kush Guild. From there on, just kept playing, moved on, made some friends, went to Omega with a couple buddies in lowers, and had the whole fight China thing. That's where I met Irish Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He really didn't like me for a little while because the '05 stuff. He had his guild in there, and we were fighting them and everything like that. Played Pegasus, I believe, in a Scott guild. I didn't know anybody at the time. Like, I didn't meet a lot of people, didn't talk to a lot of people other than the few friends I had. And after that, really, I played with Irish Eyes basically exclusively for every server
Till he
until
quit.
they quit, basically. Yeah, like Frontier, I kind of random started by myself. I kind of got tired of the same thing over and over. So on Frontier, I started in, I think it was 20s. It was 10s or 20s, can't remember. They all kind of come together. Like, all the servers just seem the same when you're with the same people all the time.
Because that's where we met on Frontier. Because Irish had kind of quit there, and I was shadow GMing Plank. We were in the same cluster in the 20s on Frontier, and we were trying to work
Yeah,
together there. And then like on a time where like you were in sort of inactivity at the time, and I was getting married that weekend. That was when the zeros, tens, and 30s invaded through the wormhole, and Slip and Jimmy got us all killed. That's what I
yeah,
remember on
yeah.
Frontier.
Yeah, I started in 10s, and I was with, I think the same, I ended up with Destructo Cat. And that's kind of where I really got to know um, Quasar, Aquaman. He was down there with a couple friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had ended up quitting after a ski trip. And
We'll talk about that more later, by the way.
yeah, I'll talk about that later. But had a ski trip. Then Irish Eyes quit, and he gave me his account, so I ended up kind of with you and those guys, kind of running 20s there. And yeah, and then Frontier, move on to Iridium. You know, had a little bit of a late start. Had pre-planned with a couple people. Started Iridium. Goes to the guy named Jord there before the start, and started late with Jimmy, and that's where I kind of met Clarky a little more. And yeah, I got stabbed on that one by good old Jord.
I remember it being the other way around, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then I moved on to Sigma, but I quit Sigma real early. I had my kids were young. We just had kids. Things kind of got complicated with real life, so Sigma kind of got that going, and then I left that to Slip and Jimmy and Trace, and I kind of met Cloak, the new Cloak, the server before. And then I quit for a while, came back on Mystic randomly, ended up down in 0-0s with Cloak and Detroit. Just took it. I think I made an account just randomly. I don't think I took an account. And then yeah, so I don't play every server now. I played Mystic, and I left a little bit, played Utopia, and then I played Antares and then Babylon now. So that's sort of the servers I play. It's been interesting with V3 and all the dynamics and things going on. It's been fun coming back a little bit. I've always been here, but I just don't play every server usually now.
Yeah, I hate starting new accounts. Like, I'd rather just like it's too much work and effort. I'd rather just like someone's gonna quit 2 weeks in, and I'll take their account then. I don't want to start a new account now. Too old for that. Way too old for that. And also, I think it was funny that you said like when you had kids and you had to step back away some from Master Empires. I had a kid, and then I started the news. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did the opposite. Misplay
yeah. I
on
don't
my
know.
part.
My wife doesn't like. I was never really a gamer. I don't play any other games really other than this. I kind of dabble a little bit here and there. I'm really terrible at all games. And my wife hates gaming, so she really hates when I spend a day down here. I usually play in my basement, and yeah, so I don't play a lot of games. This is really the only game I play.
I mean,
So
that's the proper way to game. It's in like a dimly lit basement by yourself. That's the way the good Lord intended people to play
Yeah.
video games. That's proper.
Yeah.
So yeah, but hey, let's talk about some recent servers because everyone else they don't care about old servers. They only care about the new stuff. Let's go to Antares, where you joined up with OPA, which was a break from your usual crew. How'd you end up there? And let's just talk about your first boomer experience.
Yeah, so with OPA, on Mystic I had met Chansey. He was in the other guild we were fighting, but we'd always sort of got along that someday we'd maybe play together. He had approached me, or I approached him. I can't remember how it worked when the server started, sort of saying, hey, what's going on? You playing? I talked to Trace and my normal crew. I kind of knew that the 30s was doing like a 5 guild thing. It was going to be way too big. And 20s had what I thought was going to be too big. So I asked if I can only play with you guys and like with Trace and them if you guys aren't going to pack 30s from the start. I don't want to be part of this. It's going to be too big. And there was no guarantees. So I kind of knew that I was going to be that from the start. And, you know, I wanted an opportunity to play with Chansey and something new. So it was really fun. I liked it. It's been a good time. It was good to meet a bunch of new people. A lot of active people in there, a lot of good leadership, a lot of good people in there. It's been fun.
Yeah, I've never seen like a better leadership group than what is in the OPA LS group. It's so strong. Like,
yeah, no, it really is. Like, it's, you know, I kind of was trying to be part of leadership at the start, and then these guys are just insane. They're so good. I don't say anything in there. I'm in the chat, but I do nothing. So I just let them take care of business and just make launches. It's been good. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, I bet. So there hasn't been moving on to Babylon. There hasn't been too much new stuff to talk about in the last week from the Clarky gang side, because I had Clarky and Vorlon on just last week. Because I think Vorlon started in your galaxy, and now he's kind of the galaxy commander. But I know that like part of the 3 main honchos of that guild, it's you and Jimmy and Clarky. Who've created your set of small independent guilds. Do we want to talk about for a minute how that all kind of came together? The big old, we'll call it the big Clarky gang. Well, how that all come together? You got a lot of players.
Yeah, so I think most people know Jimmy and I get along really well. We have for a long time. Clarky we played on Iridium, and even though we relocated on Iridium up to 20s after we got stabbed, I just enjoyed it. It was a good time. I enjoyed playing with Clarky. It was fun. So when Clarky had decided maybe he'd come back, I thought, well, you know, we should just do something together. We had a good time before. We could maybe have a good time again, and just, you know, have some fun. Obviously, we are pretty big. A lot of people think we're trying to ruin everyone's fun, and I get exactly why they're saying that. I do try to play, have fun, and is what it is. I don't know what really to say about how big we are. We are too big, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just how it happened. It's just a bunch of friends that play, so.
Yeah, but at least the people you're fighting against, they're making it easy on you. But you guys have done some like creative fleet moves, like the 07 attack in 07. That was a good play. It was strong.
Yeah, I do feel like even though we've been in this blob stare for however long it's been, 2-3 weeks, 2 weeks at least.
It's ending now.
Yeah, we've been ninjing nonstop. Ahoy has been trying to make different moves go. We've been trying to stay active. We haven't just sat there blobbing. We've been actively going to every cluster trying to make hits. Not every hit's great, but we're moving everywhere. We got ninjas going all the time. We got different op groups going everywhere. So we're trying to at least keep everyone engaged and interested in the server at least while that was going on. Obviously that just changed, but I think we have a good group and a lot of good guys that know how to play, and it's just trying to keep everyone interested.
Are you able to reveal the secret of Ahoy and who is their top secret GM? Will you spill the beans?
No, there's only like maybe 4 or 5 people that know who that is, and it's at the start of the server, the GM asked if we could keep him and his players secret, and you know, unless he wants to reveal it, I'll just keep that to myself and a few people that know.
Like, I wondered if it was like from that behemoth like port group from Elysium, but I kind of figured they would have just been in Clarky's starting group, so that's why I don't think it's them. But if I'm just wrong about that, then that's who I think it is. That's my guess.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who Behemoth is, so. It could be. I don't know. Is Behemoth a guild or a guy?
He's a guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But before we just talk about how the entire landscape on Babylon has changed, there's a lot of people talk about how you are an avid skier. It's one of your favorite things to do. And has that ever gotten in the way of any like issues that's created for you playing Astro Empires?
Yeah, so we have a property on a ski hill, so I do go out there a lot of weekends in the winter and do enjoy skiing. We don't have a lot of reception. But yeah, it has created one big problem on Frontier where FKA and Alex were pretty pissed off at me. But we had sort of planned tens were dying on Frontier, and it was just the way things were going. We had bad leadership in the guild I was in and everything happening. So I really wanted to get along with the Cancer Crew guys. And we had made a plan with some of the guys to basically stab the guild I was in and try to change the landscape of tens. So they had launched, they had spent a lot of time, a lot of effort putting that in. Maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours before that, I had Irish Eyes message me, basically telling me that, you know, I know what's going on, you can't do that, this is our ally, and all this stuff. And I had lost reception through the day driving to the mountains, actually a lot. But I was talking to them as it was going on. So basically, there was a stab that I decided not to stab, but in doing that, I stabbed Cancer Crew.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, right? So
it probably would have been better for us in the 20s when you ended up there if you had just stabbed them, because the teens were never Irish Eye's friend. They were immediately allied the Zeros, tried to kill us.
Yeah, funny enough, I really should have just gone ahead with the plan.
That's the lesson to learn. You should always stab when given the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those things. That's the only really time where I've done anything like that. That I can think of. We have a disagreement on the Iridium thing. We've got past our differences. But,
we have.
We both think we stabbed each other. But, you know, that's...
I mean, imagine saying you're ready to co-jam and like we're going to lead a guild together, and then you ghost the person, then you make a guild to Slip and Jimmy instead next to us. Like, where's the lie? Where's the lie?
I didn't make the guild, though. I started late. I just started in 05. And the minute I got there, I allied you. So basically it was the same thing.
Yeah, but you guys had even allied Clarky first. It wasn't even your first step.
Well, I didn't know who I was dealing with. I just got there. It was new. But yeah, so then you took a screenshot and you launched on us.
That was the last thing we needed to do, and then you got saved by Darkseid's the dumbest assery ever. Jesus Christ, he screwed us all. He screwed us all.
Yeah, same thing. We just should have got along in the first place.
Yeah, I know. But let's take it back to Babylon. So now that everything has changed, the alliance that was against your group is gone. Have you guys cut any deals with the teams or Audi, how to stonk, anything along with that?
Right now, we've given basically teams, I guess it's like a 2-week do not hit to just sort of get themselves together after everything went down, because I don't know if everyone knew what was happening in Coop or anything like that, or Pokemon. I don't think it was a full planned situation.
Like there was it was all the mostly trolly people, so there's like a good 20 strong group of people that was all going through with it, which included the GM of Coup. We decided let's go stab, boys.
Yeah, so yeah, we basically said, okay, well, we'll give you 2 weeks to. It was just part of the. We knew about the stab maybe an hour and a half before, but we didn't really know what was happening. Like it was more you had Compol saying, okay, we're done. They're building Prings. They're not building Fleet. We're just going to kill Stonk and then get the fuck out, right? And basically, we didn't have a lot of time to discuss anything. Like, we're trying to, but...
it happened really fast.
Yeah, it just started happening. Then they're killing their own players. And I was like, what's happening here? I thought you were killing Stonk. Like, now you're killing your own people. What exactly is going on here? And... it was all just a big mess, to be honest.
Yep. Exactly.
There wasn't a lot of knowledge. Like I said, we didn't know. I'm not going to lie about that. We knew about an hour and a half before it happened. I mean, maybe 2 hours, maybe an hour. It was somewhere around those lines. It doesn't really matter. But we knew it was kind of going on. We thought they were just killing Stonk, and they were going to head out, basically. And then also, like I said, they're killing themselves, and it was just a big mess. No one knew what was happening, so we launched O4 right away because we're like, okay, well, what the fuck? And so basically, we just kept what we said, like, okay, we'll give you 2 weeks, get out. There's two trains of thought on what to do next. It was, okay, well, we can just go kill their blob, everybody, if we could make it in time. We probably couldn't have, or we let them go back and build up. Because either way, everyone, you can look at it both sides. We kill the server by killing their blob, and then everyone just quits, or we kill the server either way because now we're so big, right?
Yeah.
Either way, you look at it both ways. In my opinion, there's no real right answer to it, no matter what was happening. So it didn't really matter what we did. That was happening without anything that we had to say, right? So
yeah. And so I mean, really, it's in order for the server to have any kind of balance whatsoever, it practically has to be everyone else still versus the Clarky gang, for just there to be server balance, and you just get to. It's up, and you guys get to choose how much leash you give them to give them another shot, or what's going to happen there. So.
Yeah, exactly, and it's with the DPS and Audi thing, top G is top G. I don't really know what they're doing ever.
No one does. No one does.
There's a lot of things set to each other where it'll be hard to get past some of that stuff. Going both ways. I'm not saying we're innocent or they're the bad guys. It went both ways, and I know we're just this whole game's a cancerous game that people talk a lot of shit, but for now, I think we have to fight it out. Who knows what happens, in a week or two from now? But we'll see where we end up. But I don't think that our goal isn't to just kill the game and just launch ridiculous numbers into 10 so everyone goes vacation mode. I'd like to hope to see that if we can. That was a terrible sentence. I'd like to see if we can make that more interesting. Maybe we try to make it more fair and send so much fleet instead of everybody. I don't know. There's still a lot of discussion to have. This is so fresh that it'd be nice to talk to people and see how we can still keep the server alive.
Yeah, it's so new. It's not surprising that big sweeping decisions haven't been made yet. But yeah, the server is basically your oyster at this point. You have free reign to do whatever you want. Like you have enough people, you can split up and go other places. You guys have a lot of choices, and you guys are using your opportunities that you have too. So I think you will keep it interesting.
Yeah, well, we'll try to. We'll see where it goes. It's so we always try to make it fun, and well, maybe not. We always try. We start with too many people, obviously. But, going forward, we'll at least try to. Like the 02, 05 crash, no one was pissed off about it. We understood why, not crash, but the blob stare. We understand why it happened and understood what was going on. We're just doing our best to try to build as much fleet as possible, right? And
yeah.
We planned for it. No one could crash each other. That was the most annoying part. Like, it's going to take, in our calculations, probably 3 weeks before the Coop Alliance and Stonk Alliance had enough fleet to come to us.
Yeah, and they should have been able to have done it sooner, but...
Yeah, they should have. There's a lot of fleet left on base, and I get why. There's a lot of ninjas happening and all that, but, they had Prings coming, so once those popped, I expected everyone to just, there's another 20 million fleet coming real quick. So it was just one of those waiting games and see where it goes. But obviously that all changed, and it's up to us, in my opinion, to make it interesting. We can just run over the server, do what we want. I'm not trying to be cocky about it.
But you have the option to.
But it's up to us to make it interesting, so that's a challenge for us to do, and I hope we step up and can do that.
Yeah, because due to a random coup stab, it's you get to have complete control over the server now.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah, it's so soon. We don't know what's going to happen spinning out of there. But do you think you have? I'm out of questions for you. Do you think you have any other bold declarations to make towards the Astro Empire's community?
No, I think it's a community that's hard to everyone to get along, and like Hobbs had said, that Discord is the worst thing ever. I left it for so long because I'm not a good shit talker. I don't deal well with all the things going on. It makes me kind of crazy, so I left that chat for a while. But I think most people actually get along behind the scenes. It's just more of the way people treat each other there. I think.
Yeah, it is. It is rough. It's rough.
Yeah, I think most guys and girls are nice behind the scenes and good to each other. It's just the way that Discord somehow turned into. I don't remember it being like that a couple years ago. Just sort of turned into this. No one can even say anything nice in there. So.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
And we're just all bitter old Astro players where no one's. We're just.
Yeah. It's been too long.
bitter.
We've known each other too long.
Yeah.
Everyone just hates each other, but.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope everyone has fun and enjoys the game. I think most people do. That's why they play it. So we'll just see where the future takes us on Babylon, and
go from there.
Next happens. So
yeah.
Well,
thank you so much, Mr. Wheels, for coming on. I'm gonna try to wrap this show up. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Yeah. See you later.
All right, adios. All right, guys, we're at the end of the news. Yeah, these are the first steps. We need Hobbs to work harder on making everyone else nicer. I think it's Hobbs' responsibility for sure. I'm glad we can all agree on that. But yeah, the community is just so absurdly toxic. It's bad. It's not good. It's not good. I bet if we were all nicer to each other years and years ago, we'd probably still have more people playing, and I guarantee. That's a guarantee. But that's the end of the news, guys. How about that? It was a fun Friday for almost everyone on Babylon. I somehow got put into a position to delete the Rank 1 guild after they suicided their ally because they were just mad at them. What a day. What a fun Friday. Yeah, so obviously that was a huge shakeup for Babylon. Just barely 2 months in. But I don't think this means it will be the end of the server already. We're going to see how all the fallout happens over the next 2 weeks or so. We'll see what happens. I'm moving into my house on Friday. So definitely no Astro Empires next weekend. Maybe the week after that, we'll see, just be unpacking and stuff. Dude, Lebowski, he's talking about the A30. He's talking about the Antares 30s. Pulsar, I can't talk about the Antares too much because people just immediately turn off. Whenever I say Antares, people just mute, they close the window, they close the stream, it happens. But I know you do have a good conspiracy about how Total made their real strong play into the 30s after B&B. I wasn't sure of the validity of it or not. I was afraid of, posting fake news. It's always a big fear. But we'll see when the next Astro News Network is. I think Babylon's going to slow down a bit for the next 2 weeks, so it'll be okay. Associated Press, Jord. Yeah, I've declared a winner in the Babylon Zeros, and it was Clarky. We declared the winner. But all right, we're gonna sign off for the day. If you guys have any random news, hot tips that you want to give the Astro News Network, you can always message me in-game, Discord, Twitch, wherever you can find me. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.